back to Drunk Uncle Radio on the Junk Drummer TV network, whether you're watching on YouTube on our premiere here, hello, or listening via Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Anchor, wherever you really listen to a podcast, we're there. If you're watching us here on YouTube, remember to like, comment, and share about whatever we're talking about in this episode. And in this episode, we're starting the long conversation. It's going to be a two-parter about our favorite and least favorite music movies.
So what y'all think about Hamilton for real, though? I mean, like, it was really it was a moment that really changed everything, right? I mean, no, I thought that's what we were doing.
That's musical, not music.
Ah, shit! Yeah, I just watched The Producers.
Tell
them, John. That's a good one.
Yeah.
The Producers is a good one. But
it's a great.
Producers is a great one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw it in Vegas. With
it wasn't a movie first, but it's definitely awesome. It was. Did that come out before the production?
With Zero Mostel.
Oh, I know who's in it. And Gene Wilder.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, boy.
That's back in the '60s.
So yeah,
it's like Gene Wilder's first big movie role.
Dude, it's great. It's the only musical that I take seriously, and I've played a bunch of musicals over the years. Every musical has one good song. It's like Grateful Dead. If you write 375,
Cats does not have one good song.
You're correct.
Cats is the exception that proves the rule.
Is that Memories? Is that the hit?
Jesus Christ.
Cats can lick the little cat asshole.
Dude, I have been to see Cats on Broadway twice.
Oh God, that's
I have left at intermission both times.
You could have seen like 17 Fish shows for that.
Well, no, this was back in the 90s when it was like went once with high school and once with my parents when I was a kid. But we both
that shit.
It was just fucking like looking around at everybody you're there with, like, we should leave. This is bad.
What'd you say, Adam?
I said, like, you waited in the lottery for that shit. I've been in New York a few times, and each time, like, the ones that I would actually, put myself on the
Book of Mormon.
And, like, Book of Mormon. That's the one. And I have I've been to see Cyrano de Bergerac, and that's one that I can take. It's a great.
I bet that'd be pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't want to see Mr. Mistopheles creeping around.
Get off me.
Kind of like touch the other cats.
Were you there long enough for the cats to come out and rub on you and shit, John?
I mean, yeah, of course. No, that happens in the second half. Thank God.
Okay.
No, but it was like, we went to, I went to New York with my high school show choir on a booster sponsored program. And they took us to we were in New York for a week and they took us to 7 or 8 shows. They got group discounts for the disenfranchised West Virginia kids or whatever, and from the fucking capital city. So I saw Fosse, which was
God.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a dancer, it's awesome, but if you're not, it's like, what the fuck is this? Fosse and Miss Saigon and all the classics, Jekyll and Hyde, and Jekyll and Hyde was actually pretty cool. The actor was really good. Anyways, I digress. Music movies, ladies and gentlemen. Music movies is what we're talking about, not musicals.
I don't need these fucking notes now. Shit.
When they say music movies, it's not meaning musicals. It's not even meaning concert films or documentaries, because we could go on about, I know concert films alone would be like a 6-part episode.
Yep.
Yeah. We're talking about movies about musicians. We're talking about movies about fictional music and all that sort of thing. Your normal length movie that would show up in a normal theater, not some weirdo one night only thing. Hey-o, talking about shit that I've directed.
Yeah, but those one-nighters, what he's talking about is, the Rush movie that he did. That was probably like a number, in the top 10 of the weekend for one night.
We were number 3.
That's what I'm saying.
One night's all you need to get pregnant.
Ooh.
What was that movie, in case people want to see it?
Oh, it was our first round of Rush Cinema Strangiato, which was in 2019, and it will be back. I just can't say anything more than that.
We all know, and we're dying to tell you, but we can't.
Yeah. So
it was awesome.
Anyway.
It'll be awesome again.
It'll be sweet.
Thanks. But anyway,
no, what was the movie that you did? It was called La Villa.
Sposgiato.
Okay. So the next one's not going to be called like Part 2?
Well,
Book of Cygnus?
Cinema Strangiato is actually the name of the yearly event that will be in theaters.
Okay.
This past time it was R40 Plus.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Like, what tour was it?
Yeah.
Was it the Brazil thing?
No, it was the last tour, R40.
Okay.
And, I can't say anything more than that. But
He's
anyway,
dying too.
I am.
Have you started on it yet?
Oh, yeah, it's done. But,
You bastard.
But anyway, so since this is going to be a 2-part episode, we all, as we do with like this episode and the Gear Nerd episode, we have to narrow it down because it could go on forever. So we take a little poll and we vote on it amongst the 4 of us. And for each category of love and hate, we're going to have our top 5 and then maybe a couple honorable mentions because you just can't go without talking about a couple of these. And today we're going to start with the hate, the bad news first sort of thing.
The Jay Sherman episode.
Yeah,
We're going to get it all out.
Embrace hate.
So, amongst the movies that we have voted on, there is one that actually topped the list of hate that only one of us did not vote for. And we're going to start with that one because it's going to be real funny. And that is that me and Jimmy and John all fucking hate the Doors movie.
It's a good movie. Oliver Stone directed it. Val Kilmer is at the top of his game. Not like
as Les
now.
Claypool says, they can't all be zingers.
Dude, it's a great movie. It's a good fucking movie. This might be generational because I got that movie right when a 14-year-old male is going to be entranced by the myth of Jim Morrison. I love the Doors. I love that band. And when that came out, it hit me. I had a serious Jim Morrison problem.
What year was that movie out? I thought it was late 90s.
No, I was
Is it out early 90s? Oh, wow.
92, 3.
Yeah, it was like 92 or 93.
Yeah, man, I was in high school.
There you go, 91. Wow, I had it off by almost a decade. That's wild.
So yeah, I would have been a
Good
freshman.
research, John.
I'd have been a freshman in high school. I handmade that fucking necklace that he wears in what is called the Young Lion picture, which is Jim Morrison looking all sexy with his shirt off, and it's a beaded necklace. I made that. That's how much I was obsessed with that movie. And dude, I mean, he catches a blowjob while cutting a vocal track. That looks like it should be great.
Well, and then she stops and looks up at him all worried and forlorn, and it totally fucks the mood up.
Just ruins.
Just terrible. Just like, oh god, and it's Meg Ryan too. It's 80s, 90s, Meg fucking Ryan. And then he causes her to be defiled in that way, and she just looks all fucking sad, and you're like, oh, and it makes him look stupider again, as if that's fucking possible. By the way, I want you all to know I'm gonna shine in this episode because I have all of the rage built up for these movies.
He wrote poetry. He
was a drunken moron.
I like how he had a shaman that he would go meet in the desert and it would manifest side stage. Like that's a real thing that would happen. You have a shaman that would manifest side stage.
That's Mojo Rising, Jimmy.
Oh yeah, Mr. Mojo Rising. Yeah, the Wayne's World
got weird naked Indian.
Yeah, because everybody's like, why the fuck is this going on? What does this have anything to do with anything? Why is this? But it's called it's Oliver, and a lot of time he likes to blend facts with very
man. If you've seen JFK,
facts.
he really likes to blend those facts.
Yeah, there's a lot of bullshit in JFK.
JFK spawned a lot of conspiracy theorists that probably shouldn't have been spawned because of the movie.
And to the left.
Back.
Kevin Costner probably helped kill JFK.
That was another parody on fucking The Critic too. Remember that? Back. It was like the Broadway version. It was like the Broadway version of JFK.
To the left.
Just a quiet theater is going back to the left.
Dude, it's a great movie. Fucking Johnny Drama's the drummer. He plays John Dinsmore.
He's so young and just fresh faced in that.
Turd. He's such a turd.
And so
Ray Manzarek was Kyle MacLachlan.
Kyle MacLachlan, yeah.
I can't remember who the guitar player was.
If you knew what all he was in, you'd remember his name really quickly because he was in tons of 80s shit like that, 80s and 90s shit. But so you keep saying it's a great movie, and maybe it is a great movie, but the Doors were so bad. I take this back. I'm overly harsh on Ray Manzarek's band. Jim Morrison was so bad that by making the movie really good, it just further illustrates how fucking douchebag this guy was.
He was a great singer.
He was a terrible singer.
Fucking kind of warbling with a low baritone. It is to me. It is one of those movies that's like trying to say a lot, but does it in tropes, so it doesn't really say anything. Yeah. Like when Jim Morrison's not doing well in the studio, and then they have to kind of berate him and build him up, and then now all of a sudden he's good again. Like the drugs wore off, and he can sing in pitch and be
that
Jim
works,
Morrison.
right?
Oh yeah. That's exactly how that happens. He just goes in and he starts just singing perfectly.
Yeah, but we're gonna run into a lot of that on both episodes, where we as musicians who have dealt with every level of music of what you deal with in the business, all of that's gonna seem passe to us. It's kind of like it's gonna be like when fucking doctors watch fucking Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
I think they tried to overcomplicate a guy that
it's Oliver Stone.
Well, yeah, like he's trying to overcomplicate a situation that wasn't all that complicated.
That guy overcomplicated Vietnam.
Like, the guy just did a lot of drugs and booze, and then he died. You're trying to make it way too complicated.
He's buried with poets in France.
Oh, I've been there. I've seen it.
Like, there's a lot of reactions in that movie that are your like very parodyable. Like, what are you looking at?
Oh, yeah.
like that.
Don't talk to me.
Yeah. I'm having a problem right now.
I ain't been drinking.
I'm full of angst.
Y'all never done a bunch of acid and ruined a Thanksgiving dinner? I guess that's just me.
I know that movie changed my perspective on, especially because I first saw it in high school, like 1996 or so. After I was I've had some buddies that were getting into the Doors, and that totally changed my perspective. That was the first time I saw Meg Ryan and not like the girl next door wholesome.
She was always the girl next door, wasn't she?
Oh my God! Yeah,
that was the one where her manager was like, "This is where you're going to be edgy."
Right, and that's where it started.
You'll get the Sharon, what's her name?
Sharon Stone.
You'll get the Sharon Stone roles if you blow Jim Morrison in the studio.
Yeah, absolutely. But God, it's just like the pinnacle of Meg Ryan hotness.
Oh, she is. She's so adorable and sexy at the same time. So we knew that was going to happen. I love the Doors. I love that movie. But you know what that does? That really comes down to when you hit a piece of art that gets you in a timely fashion. Like if I were to watch the Doors for the first time, and maybe even be introduced to the Doors for the first time now as a 43-year-old man, it probably wouldn't hit me when I was as hard as if when I was 14 and 15.
You'd be like, what the fuck is this psychopathic bumbling moron saying?
I'd be like, that's a great jazz drummer, like redefining rock playing. Because John Densmore is, this is a drum channel, but this is about Drunk Uncle Radio. John Densmore is one of the most underrated drummers in the history of rock and roll because he's always the guy that was behind Jim Morrison. Man, John Densmore is a motherfucker. If you're going to give Ginger Baker all that love, and I think some of Ginger Baker's love is a little undeserving, John Densmore is as good, or if not better, than Ginger Baker.
He's definitely a more fluid-looking player than Ginger.
Well, yeah, goddamn.
I mean, Ginger's one of the...
Ginger Baker looked like he's trying real hard.
You got like one missing tooth, just staring.
Making sure his kid's all messed up on cocaine. His 12-year-old's all messed up on cocaine.
One thing I want to say about the Doors, and that's like, I think that you really, in the totality of music history, like popular music history, it would really be kind of lame if you didn't have like the big piped up stories about Jim Morrison out there, right? Because
you gotta love the mythology.
Stories about it. It's a very heavily traveled landmark, and
they said I married a witch. I don't even remember what that is about.
London, is that where he is?
No, he's in Paris.
Sorry, I forget. But anyway. But no,
real close to Oliver Wilde.
35 years of hearing the Doors.
Oscar Wilde, sorry.
And it takes me, anytime I hear Break On Through, it takes me back.
That's a great drum part.
First time I remember hearing it, which was at this old pizza place in Ironton, Ohio, that my parents used to take me to. And they would basically hang out with their buddies and drink.
Giovanni's?
Anderson's.
Okay.
But there was like a little arcade in the back or whatever, and I remember I would get bored with the arcade after a while, and I'd be sitting there waiting on my parents to leave, and Break On Through was always playing at some point, and even as a kid I was like, oh, here comes this fucking 4-minute horrible Hammond solo again. I want to die anytime I can't change that song, and it's just
it's such a good song. It's the day destroys the night.
I will say there aren't many bands
Night
around.
divides the day.
They're one of those bands I think love or hate. There's not many bands around, or artists really, that were around for such a short period and had as big an impact.
Huge.
Whether it's like cultural or musically or whatever. I don't know if they had a huge musical impact necessarily. But
I mean, we wouldn't have Glenn Danzig if we didn't have Jim Morrison, Jim.
Oh, well, I guess you've got me there. Where would we be without Glenn Danzig?
Serving them up.
We wouldn't have that video of him getting knocked the fuck out.
That's right.
You wouldn't have, hey, life fades away.
Okay, y'all are done burying me. Everyone in the comment section, tell us.
Tell Steve why he's right.
Yeah, or why they're wrong.
Conversely, enough about you. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about me.
Let's get on to a movie that it was tied for. No, it was actually first, but I wanted to get the doors out of the way. We all shit on this one really hard, and that is a little movie called Whiplash.
Oh man,
Lifetime Achievement Award.
And I admit, I heard when it came out, I heard that it was like that from some people around me at the time, and I never watched it. I was like, I'm avoiding that as a graduate of a small fledgling but still accredited jazz program. I didn't want to watch it, and I skimmed through some of that shit today. It is the most it's comical. It's like they had to be laughing on set between takes at just how fucking ridiculous they were being.
Yeah.
One would hope, anyway. I mean, I was let down. I remember watching this. I think I rented it. On demand or something. It came out in 2014. But I like J.K. Simmons a lot. I was like, oh, jazz drumming and J.K. Simmons sounds like a nerdy movie I could watch by myself. And got it, and it was just, I was laughing at it, but I also was just sitting there like, because we all went to school for playing a lot of jazz, and I just remember those classes being really boring most times when you weren't playing.
You would have liked some excitement of teacher abuse.
Yeah. So what do you got, Jim? Like your thoughts?
Oh, well, me and old JDTV over here, we've had many shouty ramblings with each other about why we hate it.
There's so many reasons.
It's so pretentious. It shows something to be a thing that it's not, and I don't know why somebody would want it to be. Like, why would you portray music school or jazz or art or anything like it's this like wall you have to break through, that you have to like gouge your eyes out and like bust your soul into pieces and have
go through boot camp,
and like do all that, like it's Full Metal Jacket for like middle class white kids. It's just so stupid. It's so pretentious and so phony that I could almost, I guess, like Adam said, I could only look at it like a comedy and just hate watch it just to yell at the screen.
It's so hard to even get through as a hate watch.
I can't, and that's the thing. I watched it one time, and I remember it so vividly just from the blind hate I had. Just the blind hate.
Jimmy, so we've never talked about it before, but your mom is a band director and a very reputable band director in our area. Has she watched it, and what does Leanne think?
Oh, I doubt it.
Okay.
I doubt it. She'd roll her eyes and call it bullshit, I'm sure.
Because Leanne'd be like, you know how many times I've wanted to attack a kid? I never did. I never got to beat up the kid I didn't like.
It's like, this is obviously not the first time this guy has done this. Has there ever been accusations? Why is the school not, like, what kind of school is this?
Bobby Knight. I mean,
yeah, it's like all he did was slide chairs. Well, I mean, he did a lot more than that, but he slid a chair across the courtroom.
No, he choked out a dude.
He did choke out a dude. That was for real. Bobby Knight did a lot of really hardcore shit, but it's like, you got this bastard wearing a tight black T-shirt.
Oh, that medium T-shirt.
Like, yeah, he's got like the shitty jazzer T-shirt on, just wearing it. Yeah, be like, I've still got my muscles. I'm 53. They're a little flabby, but I've got my muscles. I'm a jazz man.
These muscles are completely natural.
They are completely natural. I have jazz man muscles.
Yeah, jazz man muscles.
I got jazz man muscles, and I'm a very intimidating, aggressive man. I do not get to use my muscles in everyday practice.
Here's the problem with that movie is, even with The Doors, there's a lot of, that's probably a 50-50 split of people who hate that movie. And I know about the other movies that we're going to talk about. This one, the problem is, this one is like beloved. This movie is a lot of people's favorite movies. I did a review of it, which is a 20-minute burial of it. And dude, it got ratioed. I have 2 videos that's ever been ratioed. It's me burying Lars and me burying Whiplash. And dude, the comment section, go check it out. I'll link it here.
For our uninformed viewers, what is a ratioed video, Steve?
If they're on YouTube, they know what ratioed means. It means more dislikes than likes.
I was going to say, for our drunk uncles that aren't on YouTube and don't know what a ratioed video is.
I think
like
most people
myself.
You didn't know what ratio? Oh, okay.
I do now.
Yeah, it got ratioed. More people.
Horatio.
Hernandez. But man, go to that comment section, and Rick Beato also did a pretty epic burial as well. And Rick Beato gets nothing but love from the YouTube music community. And that comment section is just like, this movie's life changing. It's one of the greatest movies.
Oh God! If that movie changes your life, I feel really bad for you.
They parodied that movie on Teen Titans Go.
What?
Because it's so ridiculous. There's like a talent show, and they're like, I've got to be a jazz drummer. We're like, you got to be a jazz drummer. That's your dream. And he's like, it is? It's like, yeah, you got to be a jazz drummer. So it's like Robin teaches one of them, like doing that, just like completely disintegrating his spirit just so he can be a jazz drummer for this talent show.
Peter Erskine has the best commentary on this movie. And the thing is, no one knows who plays the drums on it because it was done off green sheet. So no one can admit who did it. What that means is it was a non-union job, and whoever did that was definitely in the union in New York. So there's all these rumors because everybody wants to know who's doing it. And everybody thinks it's Peter Erskine. And Peter Erskine, I don't think it is him because he came out and buried that movie. And what he said was his major problem with it was they didn't show how the pursuit of music should be like uplifting and enjoyable. It made it seem like being a musician is more miserable than going through Paris Island.
Well, there's a reason that they call it playing music.
It's playing music. You don't work music. Like you work hard at playing music, but you don't work music.
You can work hard at anything, but playing music is still an act of play.
Especially in a... Sorry, go ahead, Jim.
Oh, I was going to say it's a lifetime of working 80 to 100 hours a week, so you don't have to work 40.
Yeah. yeah.
Exactly.
But, the 2 things that I hate the most about that movie is the one where he feels like his meet, because man, he had a little meet cute with his girlfriend, with the little girl, right? And they went on a date, on a date, and then like the next date was him being like, I don't have time for these one dates that we've had at this diner because I have to spend every waking moment to be great.
My teacher that hit me is right.
In reality, it's like you meet a chick and they take super interest in you. Like, fuck class, where's your dorm?
But like the thing about that was like you need a life to play about. You need a life to play about, and they didn't show that. You know what I mean? Like some of the best music I've ever made was because I was in love. You know what I mean? That guy needed to be in love.
There is an overarching theme in musical, at least jazz academia, from my experience, where you spend so much time studying the past that you don't innovate, and you end up playing what, Steve, I believe you call it Wynton Marsalis jazz,
Civil War reenacting.
Yeah,
is what I call it.
And so there's that trend, and so like I don't know, for a bunch of the like horn players, especially sax players that I went to school with, man, it was so far gone down that hole, and it was like that. It was like, man, can you make up a melody that sounds like you? Can you just right now? Don't play a Charlie Parker lick. Just play a melody, and that
stares blankly.
Yeah, freezes, man.
You realize that lick you're like practicing for 2 weeks on the Aebersold method was one that Charlie Parker came up with while completely strung out on heroin. Like absolutely out of his mind on heroin.
Your parents are paying $50,000 a year for you to do that.
I wonder, like, it's like I feel like I got to extend an olive branch or something because you know, like JDTV was saying, there's so many people out there that do love the movie for whatever reason, and maybe it's because they have I can only imagine, maybe they have a fantasy in their mind where it's like, this is what I'm going through, this is my struggle, and this movie has finally spoken about it, and it's the one movie that ever spoke about the struggle I have. And if you're having that struggle, you maybe reevaluate what you're doing and think about where your priorities in playing are, and you might be hurting yourself more than you're helping yourself, and don't do that anymore.
Go watch Mate One.
Yeah, do something like that.
Find
Things
out
could be a
real
lot
struggle.
worse. Yeah,
You know what I
right?
mean?
Things could be real bad.
Dude, you're a
That's how you feel
suburbanite
playing
white
drums.
kid. The second one that just ruined it for me, and you know, we can always bitch about movies that aren't true to life, but the one where it's a two-parter because they go to like some jazz spectacular and he forgets his drumsticks, but nobody will let him use some drumsticks. Like, dude, if you forget your drumsticks, you can get some drumsticks if there's a bunch of other drummers around. So he has to take his four-door sedan and fly across town and get his drumsticks, and on his way back he wrecks and almost dies, but leaves the wrecked car that, if I'm not mistaken, is like flipped upside down.
Oh, is that why he's like bloody with the shirt on the one side?
Yeah, and he runs into the auditorium with like professors and teachers of children, because if you're in college, you're still a child. No one says anything. No one's like, hey, bro, you look like you have internal bleeding.
The ending of that movie capped the hate I had, like where, you know, the teacher fucks him, right? It's just like he just totally tries to ruin his whole thing, and you know, gives him the wrong sheet music. If you haven't seen it, he gives him the wrong sheet music, so now he can't play. But then what's that kid do? Well, he looks like an ass, but then that kid turns it right around and he starts playing some real jazz at that teacher, and then he's got respect and he goes, yeah, and he points at him, and then they just all start playing stuff.
That's jazz.
So you're saying it's anticlimactic, Jim?
It's just stupid.
Break into Chuck Mangione's feels so good.
Dude, that movie. That's two in a
how it
row.
ends. Roll
We can get it. We can get that in every episode. There was that movie. Okay, so JD Simmons. Yeah,
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons. He won the Grammy, the Oscar.
The movie Grammy.
The movie Grammy. The movie was nominated for Movie of the Year. I'm pretty sure Miles Teller was also nominated. That's how the rest of these movies that we're going to bury, a lot of people are like, yeah, it sucks. This movie is beloved, and people will fight you over this fucking movie. It's the worst.
I wonder how the lines would draw out if you looked at the musicians versus non-musicians who watched it and who loved it.
I've never met a musician that's watched it and said they like it.
But I wonder how many non-musicians go see that shit.
I mean, mostly.
It was a pretty big flick. Yeah,
it was a big movie. That was a big movie. That was. That's what these
people are going through? That's awful.
That's terrible.
That's what these people do?
Go.
My God.
That wasn't really in the age of GoFundMe. Can you imagine that now? It's like, I know a buddy that plays drums. He needs a GoFundMe.
The abuse he takes.
Dude,
He needs a new car.
on college campuses, you can't clap because it triggers people. You think they're going to like allow this dude to just beat up generations of children?
All these moms now, like they watch that movie or something and be like, Mom, I want to go to school and play drums. You're not going to any school to play drums. No, I've seen it.
You're going to sign up for the Navy instead.
Right, exactly.
You're going to the Marines, young man.
That movie, like, okay, I've talked about this on the channel before. I went to an HBCU, and that'll come in handy later on as well. That shit would have never happened there. That shit would only happen with scared white suburbanite kids. Like, dude, I'm kicking J.K. Simmons' ass. It's not happening.
Oh, dude, they turned
It's
a
not
chair at me.
happening. Jimmy was a wrestler in high school and a really good one, and it would have not been well. It would have not went well for that teacher.
No.
I'll wrap the discussion on Whiplash with just there is one band director that J.K. Simmons' character reminded me of. And while I love him, like, he was kind of freaky. I'm not going to name his name, but he was my band director from 6th through 8th grade. And he would lose his shit and just like, you're playing a natural. I'm like, I'd be like, oh God. And the whole class just be like, oh man, it was bad.
We had a teacher who I also won't name, but it was in 7th grade, and he would. I never had an issue with him, but he was like, it was like that. It was like the most bipolar thing, and I don't want to sidetrack it, but it was just so funny because it like triggered my mind and made me think of that. But he would do a thing. He'd be like, "Oh, hey, how y'all doing today? Oh, you were so nice today. You're getting an extra 100%. Oh, you did that. You were so nice. You did 100%." And then somebody talk, and he like kick the trash can in. Stop talking. Who did that? Like bending up the trash can, like banging the desk. It's like horrifying, man. Horrifying, but also a sweet man. Anyway,
And if he tried to attack you, could you take him?
oh yeah,
And you were like 12.
oh yeah. No, he wasn't like an intimidating man. He was. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's like angry dog always wins, but it's still, probably
Bipolar dog. I don't know if that always wins or not.
Yeah.
Well, one movie that I think that we can all agree to shit on and move along because this one just is not deserving of a famous deep dive. We haven't said that in like 4 weeks. I have to say it. Anyway, next movie on the list was one starring Nick Cannon called Drumline.
Another drumming movie.
Another drumming movie. I thought it was the stupidest thing I'd ever watched at the time. I remember why? Well, because I think it came out while I was in college.
It's like 2002.
It came out when I was in high school.
I was teaching by then.
So it's when I was in marching band in high school.
Okay, so yeah, I was teaching by then. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I remember watching it and think, part of the gag in that movie is that like, he had that like drum trigger that would like write out sheet music perfectly. It was like, first off, that shit's not happening.
I was going to say, does that even exist now?
Balls.
Can you do that now?
Sure, you have the capability to do that, but the software never interprets it right.
Back in
it would never be perfect. You have to go back and fix everything.
Okay.
It's like when you would download a MIDI and just throw it into a music notation software. And
Finale.
Oh God!
Those were like way up here.
It'd be better off just to put this all in. Oh, I should just do the work myself. Fuck.
Yeah.
I should just record this and play it.
Yeah.
So I thought that was funny, but like just the acting, it was like, oh, they drummed at me pretty hard. It's fucking on now.
They drummed at me so hard. You're bringing up what the reason why I hate that movie. First of all, I went to an HBCU and I was in a marching band like that. And those marching bands deserve to have a movie that celebrates it because that art form is fucking awesome. If you've ever seen like, what is it, Florida? What is it, Jimmy? Like Florida A&T?
Florida A&T, Grambling.
Oh, that stuff is the bomb, man. If you only know DCI shit, you'll love that stuff. OU even does it.
Grambling, that ties in with our Super Bowl episode where they were a very, very often featured performer before.
I'd have Grambling marching band all the time. That was
Doug Williams went to Grambling.
Who did?
Doug Williams.
Oh. Redskins quarterback, 85 or 87.
87.
Okay, after the Bears.
Yeah. 42-10.
I remember having a student coming in and I was teaching. I was private teaching and I was a band director or assistant band director and a drumline instructor at a local high school. And he was like, so what high school does your drumline fight? I'm like, none, because they're all fat band nerds that play World of Warcraft on their like, off time. Like nobody's going to brawl because someone drummed at you.
We're going to hold our sticks two-handed on opposite sides close together and have a stare down, and then we're going to drum, and then we're going to fight.
I'm going to.
Why do they always try to put violence in music? Why do they always try to put violence into music?
Oh yeah, I mean the whole ending scene there. They're the A&T crowd's like cocking their sticks and like shooting the other drum line.
Why so aggro, man? It's supposed to be fun. So yeah, it was good that I got a lot of students because of it. Like I got so many students because of Drumline and Rock Band. I made a lot of money because of those two pieces of entertainment. Having
spent so much of my teenage and early 20s years as a marching band idiot, all those years and even now, I still find it hard to take somebody seriously when they have a giant plume on their hat. So, if some guy like walks up to me and he's like fucking cussing me out, like "fuck you, man," but if he's like got this thing on the top of his head, I'm just like, oh no! So if somebody's like drumming at you real hard and that shit,
and the military uniform is like bright cobalt blue and yellow, or like orange and pink or something. You're like, you're not really threatening me right now.
Yeah.
Now there were John brought it up. John brought it up in the thread, though. There are really good drummers in that video, in that movie.
Oh yeah,
I tried to look it up and see. It's hard to find out who those drum lines are.
Well, you can't fake that style of drumming.
No,
You're just exposed. You just have to do it.
They had to just. Nick Cannon did a bunch of practicing, and I guess he could play drums to some degree before that. Yeah. But so he practiced up and could do all that stuff. But everybody else in both those drum lines, save for the named actors in the movies, were clearly part of that. Were clearly drumline players because you
can't
awesome.
fake it. You can't fake that,
and it's all real. Whether they're recording it in real time or playing to the track, I can't really tell. Probably playing to the track, but man, it looks really good. Especially that ending drum battle. All their choreography is really good. It's total pros, man.
Total pros.
This is probably. Of the bunch of the five we're going to be talking about, this is probably the least hated of the hated.
Yeah.
It's like, because it's not so much that it's bad musically. It's really good musically, and it's exciting. Like it's like it bounces, and that kind of music and that style is very exciting. It's just also so ungood. The movie itself, like the plot.
If Oliver Stone would have made that movie, it would have been fucking great.
One of those movies, you're sitting there and you like. There's parts of it that you like, and there's a whole lot of it that you don't like, and you find yourself asking yourself like, I'm stupid for sitting here right now.
Yeah, I paid money for this.
I didn't even get up and get another drink yet.
Yeah, like I could choose to stop this at any moment.
I'd be watching Great British Bake Off instead.
Oh my God. Okay, no, I don't want to go down that road because I can. What? Real quick, because I've been watching that, right? And then started watching like Gordon Ramsay's like Hell's Kitchen shit. Americans suck, man. I fucking hate Americans. They're such dickheads. And like everybody, it's raw. Like it's the worst, man. I'm moving to England as soon as this shit. But like
one of my favorite memes online is a picture of Gordon Ramsay shouting at somebody while he's holding a spoon. It says, "This soup is dry."
My favorite is when he's got the two pieces of bread on either side of the person's head. What is it, moron sandwich?
Yeah, moron sandwich.
Yeah, if you watch the Great British Baking Show, it ruins you for every other kind of cooking show. It's
These
so
people are
pleasant.
so pleasant. This
so pleasant.
screen filter is so very blue. Like all British screen filter.
And if they do badly, they're like, you know what, man, that was my bad. I'm gonna try harder next time. And like any American's like, I'm going to take somebody out. I'm going to get them drunk and then take pictures of them in situations that'll get them in trouble.
Tell you what, down in
No, I fucked his wife last night.
Any Great British Baking Show fans in the comments section, do you agree with us that Paul Hollywood's overselling that handshake?
Fuck that handshake.
Wouldn't be worth
that handshake.
He'd stick his hand out, I'd slap it away.
Dude, Jimmy, you're the first person, because I bitch about it every time I see it, and you're the only other person I've talked to about it. Like, I would be like, who are you?
I'll stick your hand in me.
Blue-eyed man? Get the fuck out of here. that handshake is overwrought.
Just go in with a fist.
Yeah, fisting.
That rotund man pouring himself into his Miata. Driving home.
It seems like he's got an MG. Seems like he would be that douche with an MG.
Nah, he wouldn't be like. You'd at least have to have some sort of like real automotive knowledge. He'd be like, he'd just buy something real expensive like a Porsche or something. It's not actually having something.
Or you could just have like a very normal but predictable like Jaguar. Is it XK?
Oh yeah, he would definitely have to have a British car.
The guy drives a mid-level Vauxhall.
What's our next movie?
Next movie is one that's going to be a bit more divided, or maybe it's like 3-1. Again, we're all Pink Floyd fans here, but I can agree with at least two others here that it stinks. The movie.
The Wall is a good movie.
Like it just makes you feel miserable to watch it.
Like I said, I just think it's like.
Have you seen Grave of the Fireflies?
Well, that's that's a really passionate, visceral miserableness. This is just like
miserable movies are good too.
Well, but this isn't a. Sorry, go ahead, Jim.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just think it's. I think they're just filming Bob Geldof's day-to-day routine. This is just what he does every day. He shaves his eyebrows. He sits in a chair and stares at the static TV, and then he pictures like Nazi cartoon hammers.
I was gonna say sews up fascist uniforms.
Yeah, it's I can get. I'm all down for surrealism. I'm all down for some pretension, but it's just like this is one of the great albums of all time. I love The Wall. I love the live concerts. I love that whole aesthetic. I love the feel of it. I love the songs. The movie's just so unnecessary. And it doesn't really say much of anything. Is very striking. It's got cool aesthetics. There are parts in it that would be good music videos, right? Like Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. That's a great music video.
Hammers Come Walking.
Yeah, there are little segments in it that are great on their own, but put together and the sum of its parts, it's terrible. It's awful.
I wonder if the band likes it. I was thinking about that today after we're arguing about it in the thread.
Robbie Robertson does.
I would want Garth is just making noises. Like I wonder if like David
Richard Manuel's just dead.
Yup. Oh, it's so foul.
That's terrible. I know.
But like, do you think David Gilmour like stands behind it? That's what I was wondering because I like it as a piece of an artifact of a time.
I bet Roger does.
Well, yeah. Roger loves his shit, man.
Roger, he had that whole The Wall tour here recently.
Well, he's been playing The Wall for like fucking 25 years.
Yeah, he kind of keeps doing it.
He keeps doing it,
but it's like all of his, the light show and the video show is just insane, but he has so much of the footage of the movie playing too.
Roger's just waiting for another country to get free so he has another market to go do that show in.
See, I thought he did the score for another movie, or it was his cartoon film, and if you're into like the whole like Grave of the Fireflies, that kind of sad cartoon thing, it's one of those. It's called When the Wind Blows, and it's about nuclear fallout. It came out in the late 80s, early 90s, and he did the music score for that. It's about a little English couple, and he did the music score for that. Much better movie, and it's all animated.
What's it called?
When the Wind Blows.
Okay.
frightening title.
It is very frightening. It's about the nuclear fallout and how these, not to sidetrack, but these little English people are just like, this little old English couple are just like, just trying to go about their daily routine, not knowing that the nuclear fallout is coming on them and killing them slowly. But Roger Waters, very good musical score in that, and very appropriate. Of course, nuclear fallout and Pink Floyd, like that's like hand in hand. But The Wall, just amazing album, amazing shows, amazing songs. It's a terrible movie.
Well, and the same can be said, just as a little sidetrack / honorable mention, but there's a lot of bands that we can say that came out with actual movies. None of them are very good. The Beatles, for instance. Elvis.
Prince had 3.
Graffiti Bridge.
Graffiti Bridge. The Cherry Blossom. Or under the Cherry Moon. Under the Cherry Moon. Is that what it was called? I think that was the one that came out at the same time or right after Purple Rain.
Kiss Saves Christmas.
Yeah, Kiss Saves Christmas.
Wait. Kiss and the Kiss and the
Great Pumpkin.
No, the one where they save the Busch Gardens type place.
Oh my God.
Oh, the theme park place. What was that?
Theme park, Kiss in the theme park. That's the one where like every time Peter Criss would talk, it would just be cat sounds. Like he never talked. He was like meow, 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 meow. Like he never talked.
You get it because he's the cat man.
He's the cat man.
Oh, that's bad.
And then like Paul Stanley's voice was always like alien-y because he's the Star Man.
The Starman. Ace Frehley is just that laugh.
Phantom of the Park.
That's it. Phantom of the Park. Wasn't it spelled? Yeah.
Just sounds like a Scooby-Doo episode.
And Adam, guess what the font was? All Kiss font.
Oh God.
I had that font. It had a stupid name. It's not Kiss font, but it's just like
Gene Simmons' wallet.
Sick font.
Gene Simmons' bank account. So it should be called.
But just in
font.
summation, let's say that if you are an artist, singer in a band, part of a big band, and you don't naturally have the chops for acting, it's just
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
You don't have to branch out.
You can do. You can play a musician. You can play yourself. But if you're being called upon to be like Bruce Lee or some shit like that, maybe not.
Yeah. You're not a superhero. You play keys in a mediocre band.
If one little moog, little fatty right in front of you, one-handed.
Playing with 2 index fingers.
Well, our last movie that we're talking about is one that I had not heard about in probably 18 years till Jimmy brought it up, and I remembered seeing it and just laughing uncontrollably. Yes. That is Vanilla Ice in Cool as Ice.
The prequel to 8 Mile.
Yeah. I saw
much more wholesome 8 Mile.
For the trailer for this, I hadn't seen the trailer for this in 2 decades, and I looked it up on the YouTube, and the number 1 comment was if Axe body spray had gained sentience. It'd be that movie.
That's fucking amazing.
Oh no!
Sentience, I guess, would be the proper term. Sentience.
We lived in a culture that elevated Vanilla Ice to the point of giving him his own movie. We should probably think things through.
And man, is it a dog shit movie.
Oh man.
Vanilla Ice was a dog shit artist.
Yeah.
And the only thing different about him now is that when he does a cameo, it's like almost like, oh, that's cute. He's still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows where he lives. Does anyone remember his reality show where he did contract work?
Oh yeah.
Construction work?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
You would hire Vanilla Ice and he would come and redo your kitchen.
The past 5 years. That was
he might still have it. I don't know.
He may still have that business.
Maybe every time
Rob
you
Van
see
Winkle.
Yeah, every time you'd see him, it was like, and now instead of like this yellow Gixxer 1100, which is very cool motorcycle in the movie, but now he'd have a dirt bike and a backwards hat.
Backwards flat bill, and anybody
Flat bill, backwards hat,
flat bills on.
Like he played for the Cincinnati Reds.
Like he was Ken Griffey Jr. playing center field,
really swinging a hammer.
Swinging a hammer. Man, no, this movie is. I encourage anybody listening out there to at least go see it once. And my thing is try everything twice. You know, that's the good old rule. Try everything twice, and that way you know the first time wasn't a fluke if you didn't like it. Or I mean, you know, within reason. But this movie is one that's worth watching, you know, at least one time, just to try to take it all in and even keep up with it. It's not well written and it's not complicated, but you still can't keep up with everything that's happening.
Can you give us a summary of the plot? Because I think this may be the least watched movie that we've pulled out.
So basically, Vanilla Ice is a roving, freewheeling musician. I'll use that term very lightly.
And he has a mic.
And he's in a rap group. He's got his band. He's got his posse, his homies that ride around from town to town on motorcycles.
Oh, no.
They always have changes of clothes, but they never have any baggage with them.
No backpacks?
No backpacks, no.
And so Ice always seems to have two different motorcycles. One has graphics and the other one doesn't.
It's amazing. So they stop in this small town because one of their motorcycles breaks, and they end up at this comical little old mom and pop shop where the bike gets comically taken apart, and they have to stay the night or whatever. Vanilla Ice meets the young, what would be the high school valedictorian, apple of the town's eye girl, who's with the jock with the Corvette.
And the town is like the corniest town you ever saw. Like the nerd dudes have like the big glasses and like the pants pulled up and like, whoa. It's the bands, the local bands you see are just like the dorkiest bands that you never see anywhere, that have never existed. and then Vanilla Ice and his crew are coming in and they're gonna like change things, you see.
So Vanilla Ice is bringing culture to this small town.
Oh man, the cover band at the Sugar Shack in the movie, the cover band is playing the world's worst version of Sly and the Family Stone. Thank you for letting me be myself. It is. Oh, no. It's painfully torturous to watch. It's fucking proper.
Have you seen it, Adam? Because I've never seen it.
I watched it back in the 90s. I remember it was on TV or something because Mom and Dad had one of those big old satellites that actually moved. We got some random movie channels or whatever, but just looking it up again here on IMDb, in which out of a 10-star rating, it gets a 2.9.
Wow.
But what do the reviewers give it? I mean, that's the more important.
Wait a second, but like the funniest thing about it is how lazily written the synopsis is, because synopses on IMDb are usually very well thought out and come straight from the director or something like that. This just says a rapper gets stuck in a small town and falls for a local girl whose family is in witness protection. And
yeah, that's another thing. You find out like this real straight-laced girl lives in this real nice house and stuff, that her dad is like an ex-cop that's in witness protection when these other corrupt cops are like trying to get after him. And then there's this like other gang that's with the boyfriend of the girl that always keep trying to beat up Vanilla Ice, who's playing a character that has a name that is extraordinarily similar to his real name.
What is it?
Oh, I don't remember, but it's something Van, like...
Oh, Rob Van Winkle.
Well, no, that's his real name.
That's his real name.
He doesn't go by his real name.
I see what you're saying. The guy in the movie, yeah.
It's something Van something. And, you know, the boyfriend has a white Corvette convertible, like a C4 Corvette convertible. And then, you know, there's some of these crazy one-liners in it, like Vanilla, like she rides horses. So Vanilla Ice, like, jumps the horse fence with his motorcycle and then describes her as the girl. No. It says, yeah, her car is a horse. And then he says, he tells her boyfriend, hey, I got some advice for you. Dump the zero, get with the hero.
Oh, no.
So the top user review on IMDb actually references what Jimmy just talked about, and it's a 1 star. And the the subject of his review is just one question. There's like 5 questions, but this is too good not to read. It says, right, I've seen this movie 10 times in 1 week, but I still don't get one thing. What does quote unquote schling a schlong have to do with anything?
Sling a shit.
And then, and how did he jump the fence from a flat road?
The thing I noticed, he was 6 feet over that fence from the flats.
On a
How does
street
he
bike.
keep-
Yeah. Going maybe 30 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour.
How does he keep changing jackets when he clearly doesn't take anything with him?
Does he have
where did
does
the
he have the
shorts come
8-ball
from?
jacket? Please tell me he has the 8-ball leather jacket from the 90s in that movie.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, it's that huge like 8-ball style jacket. It's not the 8-ball jacket, but
Way too big on it.
it's there's one that says something on the back, and I can't remember what it was, but it's totally Vanilla Ice and amazing.
One sleeve just says sex.
He keeps like he keeps like pulling out these different pairs of sunglasses. Like he'll say a one-liner and then like put on these like a different pair of sunglasses. Like, where are these coming from? Where does he keep
There's
getting
another-
sunglasses?
There's another one right under that that says, and how does he drive through the second story of a house from the opposite direction on the ground?
Exactly. And one of the great scenes too is when, like, in the end, you know, the girl. There's a big dance scene where she's like dancing by herself with Rob Van Winkle's character there, but she leaves the boyfriend and he's been beaten up and comes back and he's driving his Corvette and he pulls the Corvette up and he stops it real fast and he's like, well, do you know what you're doing? You're gonna be a biker chick. You're gonna leave me. You're gonna leave my car.
You're gonna leave my car.
Yeah. She doesn't even say anything. Like Vanilla Ice speaks for her. He goes, yeah, it looks that way. And then he just drives off, pops a wheelie and rides off. And then he slows down. He goes, hey, wait, hold on. She goes, what are you doing? He goes, I forgot something. And he turns around and then he ramps off the front of his Corvette.
That's it.
With her on the bike.
Yeah, with her on the bike. And then they just ride off. His
name was Johnny Van Owen.
That's it, Johnny Van Owen.
There we go.
And Naomi Campbell is in this movie.
Yeah, and Stanley Clark did the film score.
Oh my God. Wait, that's not Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown. Oh no, that's Cherry Pie Bobby Brown. Okay. I had to look up.
The jacket on the back says "Down by Law" in really huge white letters.
That's a good punk band, but a terrible jacket. There's a punk band called Down by Law. That's a terrible jacket idea.
It's one of those movies that is so rooted in a particular time, but also has like all these like insane B movie, again, tropes, to use the word tropes. There's all these like things that you always see. There's always the bad motorcycle jump, like when you watch a Mystery Science Theater 3000 or something, there'd always be those movies where you'd have like the bad slow-mo motorcycle jump where the guy jumps from flat ground and winds up in another place.
You can see pieces of 2x4 from the terrible ramp exploding in the shot behind him.
Oh yeah.
Like when a boat ramps through the fucking marina or something like that.
And it didn't have a big budget, especially for a movie at the time. It's one of my favorite things. The movie cost, I think, $6 million to make, and it made a little over 1.5. It made about 1.5.
It's 1.2.
There you go. Yeah, just slightly over $1 million. So they
like
lost almost $5 million for Vanilla Ice.
It won a Golden Raspberry Award. Which is like, this is the opposite of Whiplash, where it was nominated for all of the prestigious awards. This was nominated for the same exact versions that Whiplash did, but it was, worst picture, worst director, worst screenplay, and Vanilla Ice won worst new star. And
that is so on brand.
Well, the tagline.
Yes, he
on the
was.
movie poster. The tagline on the movie poster is one of the funniest things too. So, when a girl has a heart of stone, there's only one way to melt it. Just add ice.
oh God,
You just got to be kidding me.
people made decisions.
You're going to melt
and
stone with ice? What kind of fucking metaphor is that?
people wrote that shit down and thought it was a good idea the next day.
Yeah, you know what we're going to do? We're going to have his helicopter scene where Vanilla Ice is by himself out in the middle of a desert, standing on top of his motorcycle on its kickstand with his arms crossed, and they're not being in any context. It's like, why is he doing this? Well, who is this fucking weirdo? Why is this?
It was just in his contract that there had to be a scene where he stands. Yeah.
Maybe I'm the asshole, but it's like I ride motorcycles. I have for quite a large time in my life, and I've never had the urge to just go park it somewhere and stand on it with my arms crossed. Maybe something's wrong with me. I don't know, but I don't think so.
Seems like a bad idea.
We'll have to ask Rob.
Yeah, we'll have to ask.
Dude, I mean, if you need your kitchen redone, you can hire him.
Maybe he's a great contractor.
He might be.
On the show, he seemed like he was okay.
He did seem like he knew what he was doing.
He definitely knew what he was doing. I think he did that some before he became a rapper, if I recall. That was at least the story.
Yeah.
But it would not surprise me.
Adam Carolla had one of those shows like that. Mm-hmm. And you could tell that Adam Carolla knew what was up.
That was the Best Man show.
Yeah. Oh, it was the Best Man show. Man, like, that's how bad the second version of it didn't. Joe Rogan couldn't even save that shit. Adam, what are our others? I have one. We've talked about before, our honorable mentions. And this one, I think this was probably the one I'm going to bring up as probably the best movie that we've talked about tonight. But it has just a glaring moral weakness at the center of it.
I know where you're going.
Almost Famous. Jim, you are my friend who is always on the vanguard of the correct way to think about things, which is one of the reasons I need you in my life. I watched this movie 10 times from the time it was, new to maybe 2 years ago, and thought it was one of the greatest movies I ever saw. Cameron Crowe is a fantastic movie maker. Billy Crudup is phenomenal in it. Jason Lee, I'm a Kevin Smith fanatic.
A lot of cameos.
Great in it. A lot of great cameos. Jimmy Fallon.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Mike Myers as well, right? Mike Myers is in there. Almost Famous is a great movie, except when you get to a certain age, or if you're Jimmy and you just know to be correct the first time. Those girls are fucking teenagers. Those girls are high school girls, and they are talking about high school girls hooking up with fucking men, and I can't watch it anymore. It hurt me. It hurt me when I finally figured it out.
I didn't watch this movie until I think my freshman or sophomore year in college, and I was sitting there, and it was always like girls, I was living with like 3 girls at the time, and they were watching this movie. It's the first time I'd ever seen it. And they're watching these things like, ooh, hoo, hoo, guys are so cute. And doo, doo, doo. And then,
is that the sounds they were making?
Well, of course.
They were cooing.
That's just how they talk. And then they're sitting there watching the movie and like, oh, I love this movie. Isn't it great? Oh, yeah, it's just great. It's so sexy. And this is a movie. And they're
romantic. It's very romantic.
They're like at that party scene, And then I'm sitting there and they're talking. Then you come to realize very quickly exactly what's going on, right? They spell it out pretty clearly. And so then I'm sitting there and I'm watching it. And why is everybody okay with this?
These girls are in high school.
This is horrifying. What is this? But I was just like, why is this okay?
There's so many disappointed parents off screen.
Oh, yes. There's a lot of like dads loading guns.
If Stillwater comes around one more time.
and there's a lot of that stuff. It's like, oh, get it? She's a groupie. She wants to go to Morocco. She's cool. Get it? She's got a thing. She wants to go to Morocco and get away from people. Oh, wait, now she's overdosing on Quaalude. She's so cool. They gotta pump her stomach in the bathtub. It's so cool. Look, she made it to Morocco. Isn't that endearing? Like, no, what the fuck is going on?
She should be in high school doing homework.
This is terrible. And I get it. It's like, okay, part of the point is to highlight how terrible it was and how terrible it is. And I get that's also why JDTV is saying It's probably the best of the bad ones. It does try to highlight.
If you were to delete the pedophilia, that's a great movie.
If those girls are 23, it's a fucking home run.
Fantastic. And Cameron Crowe could have done that with a few keystrokes.
Didn't have to do it.
That's true.
He did it. It didn't have to be that way.
It didn't have to be that way.
You know, the only other honorable mention that we need to wrap here, but just we can say it very quickly, is that I think any of us in this chat here that watched the movie Rocket Man, we were hoping to see something that wasn't a fucking weirdo musical, and we wanted to see some real shit.
Get him, Jimmy.
Well, it's exactly what Adam said. It's just like the same thing that had disappointed us about other sort of wannabe docu-films, is that they don't give you the real story. It's just sort of like putting a big star sign around it and then, throwing glitter at it and then being like, look how great it is. Look how wonderful life is. Look at the career. Look at the blah, blah. Don't ignore that. It's the Wizard of... Look at the man behind the curtain.
Ignore all the stuff that made the music good.
Don't look at the real... We don't want to talk about that. Maybe we'll touch on it here and again, but it's just like...
Just break out in song. Let's not talk about that.
It's almost like a made-for-TV movie or something.
It's so god-awful.
Yeah. I was so disappointed.
of the movie to the quality of the fucking artist that it is about.
Man.
That's the biggest disparity that has ever been on any music
Elton
movie.
John so much, and what he means to so many people, and then it's just so disappointing.
This guy wrote "Tear Down the Mission" or "Burn Down the Mission," and this is the movie you all came up with.
Yeah,
honky cat.
It's like they only focused on his glasses
and his Donald Duck outfit. It's the only thing he accomplished.
Really weird to go to IMDb and look up the rating, is that it is like, what the rating is like 7.3 out of 10.
What is that? Are you on Rotten Tomatoes?
No, IMDb, because I'm a member. That's the first thing I go to. But like,
I am Dan Bailey.
Go to Rotten Tomatoes and let's see what the crowd is as opposed to the critics, because I think there's going to be a big disparity there. Because
let's see what the critics that can't get a slot in their local newspapers have to say.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Because man, people were wanting that to be great.
89%. That's even higher than I thought it was going to be.
Wait, 89% from the audience?
Audience scores 88. Sorry.
Really? That movie's fucking unwatchable. Mouse. Mouse in the house.
Is the dog in? Oh, the dog is in.
Buddy.
Oh, the dog. Come here, dude.
Get that dog on film.
Come here, dude. You're going to come on YouTube.
Get that dog on film. He's a good dog. Look at that dog.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Drunk Uncles fan club, this is my dog, Mouse. He's a good dude.
Dog.
Oh, wow.
When we start our Patreon, we're going to put him in the tier.
Good buddy. He's got his little sweater on. We call him the Professor. Oh, all right, get out of here.
Well, just all to say is, like, if you're going to make a movie about a legend like Elton John, you really need to take the route of, say, in modern or in more recent history, something like Bohemian Rhapsody, which we'll mention next week.
Yes.
As a movie that we love, though it might be his honorable mention, but it still gets a mention. But, yeah, Jim? First, you first. You got anything else to add on these crazies?
Not anything really. I mean, I think we've sort of wrapped it up pretty well. It's just it's sort of like it's so easy to find things that you hate. At least for somebody like myself, it's easy to it's kind of how I was raised. Like you find the bad things first, and then you work out what's good about it. And maybe
that's evolution. That's how evolution works.
Yep. You seek out the dangers and you seek out the bad stuff. So it's always good to just get the bad things out of the way. For me and for anybody, like if you do like any of these movies that we talked about, or you think they're great and we're just assholes, that's fine. You can hate and
let us know.
Let us know why.
I want to talk to someone who likes the ice Vanilla Ice movie.
I could only see it as somebody who loves watching it like stoned or blind drunk out of their mind. I could see enjoyment in that, like being those movies it's so bad it's good.
I want an earnest lover of the movie. I want to talk to that person.
Yeah, you got to have like that just like blind fan for the movie. Just have the blinders on. It's good, it's good, it's good. But then you keep throwing them at it and the cognitive dissonance keeps kicking in. No, but it's good. You don't understand.
It's like the big fans of the Kiss movies.
Exactly. It's like, but it's good. It's Kiss. Oh, yeah, but look at everything else. Yeah, but it's Kiss. Don't you get
care. It's a terrible. I've seen it. It's terrible.
But yeah, it's like if you like these movies, that's fine. You're welcome to do whatever you want, and we won't think any less of you. Maybe that you have a strange taste.
If you like Whiplash, I'm going to think less of you.
Yeah, that's not.
I'm sorry. Unsubscribe right now.
Oh my God. And on that terrible disappointment.
Yeah, it is time to wrap. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll be back next week with our top 5 music movies that we love, with a very special cover from one of those movies that we love. And it's kind of a big one as far as production value goes. Right?
Is it Strutter?
Yeah, Strutter. Fuck.
Yeah, of course.
Damn it. Ruined it. Anyway.
Yeah, blew the surprise.
Thank you for watching or listening. Please remember to head over to drunkunkleradio.com, as well as our Twitter and Instagram at Drunk Uncle Radio. Subscribe here to Junk Drummer TV. We'll see you later.
Uncle George was a terrible human.
Grandpa George.
Damn
Grandpa George was okay. It was Grandpa Joe that was shitty.
Go to hell, Joe.